Good morning. It's January 25th, 2024. This is my creative act for the day, which is, I like getting my creative acts in early. I just dropped my son off at school, and before I start my carpentry remodel day, I'm down in one of my favorite sets of woods. It's behind my old house. What's wild is that when we moved to the house we lived in, we didn't even think about these woods being right by it, and they're amazing woods. I don't know. I don't know how many acres the woods are or anything like that, but I know that the path that walks through the woods is about 1.5 miles, and it's not utilized. It's not used all that often, so it's a really nice path that goes along. I'll take you over to the creek, and I think it's all man-made. I don't know what the creek did before, but they definitely try to control it. I had a friend who reflected something back at me that was helpful. That they watched this one of my videos, and they said, "Oh, it seems like you're soothing yourself with your own processing." And I think that I didn't realize that was happening. I didn't realize what was going on. I didn't realize one of the roots that I'm trying to explore in this year in creating is once again, it's not like an outcome in the external world for me. It's work that's happening inside me. And what they said was, "Oh, it seems like when you're processing, you're soothing yourself and you're sort of making sense out of some things." And that I could take that two ways, because there's a part of me I can feel up inside that wants to be an expert and wants to like guide. Here's our creek. Let's see if you got a good view here. Yeah, we do. Maybe I'll get a clip of this. Can I take a photo mid-shot? Let's see. I'm going to experiment. That's not going to do it from the back. It did it, and the video kept going. That's cool. All right. Sometimes I'm trying to think about where I was, but then doesn't really matter where I was, where in my thought process here. I think when I got on here, I was thinking about a couple things. One, I was thinking about it, just dropped off my son, and I gave him sort of this pep talk this morning. It's like the 10-15 minute ride to school. And I realized while I was talking to him that I was talking to myself. That I was like, it's all good. It's all like good things that I tell him. And I guess one of the things that I'm talking to him about that I realize I'm really need to just listen to myself. And I'm not saying it's not my task role. It is my will to talk to him about these things. So I'm not saying it's not important for me to talk to him about it, but I realize that if I'm not processing these things myself, then I'm just deflecting. Yeah, that hurts. Which brings me back to being an expert and being like some sort of guide. That's a joke. I can feel it's a fucking joke. I think we're all growing together. So, it's like I want to 46, and when you learn something at 46, it has something like what feels like 36 years of of will behind it, because like, you know, so you start making your willful choices when you're 10 to 12, 8. You start to decide what you're going to do with the absorbed thing that you are. And so when I'm thinking of, I love this. This is the other thing that I was thinking about. I'm going to get back to that thought because you can see this river, a little creek. I can't focus this way. But you can hear it. And what I was thinking about how when I come to these woods, I realize how different they are almost each time I come. And maybe sometimes it's undetectable from day to day, but this is drastic because the last time I was here was a week ago, and it was covered in white snow, and there was no sound. And now, there was birds earlier. I don't hear birds. Well, I do hear birds. You can hear them. I don't know if you can hear them through the stream. Yeah, you can. There's birds. So today is the first, like, the foggiest day that we've had this winter. And it's not super foggy in this spot, but it was foggy earlier. So it's foggy and it's orange. And I think if I wasn't, it's the leaves, the ground cover. Oh yeah, especially over here, just in that little valley where this little creek comes down into this bigger creek. But it's all so orange. Everything's so orange. And what I realized is that in my little human stories, when I come out here, I say that nothing's different because I'm like, it's the woods. It's this sort of static place that's going to be here in 2 years or in 5 years, and I think about my effect on it or our effect. Like, I hope it's here in 5 years or 10 years or 50. But I don't think of it as having a mind of its own or a heart of its own, a life of its own, we would say. Like, mind of its own sounds silly, heart of its own sounds romantic, and then life of its own, I think most people could accept that idea, that it has a life of its own. But that life doesn't have a story. It doesn't have it's not trying to do something, and so we don't want to give it a personality because it doesn't feel like it's trying to do something. So it feels static. And then there's a part of me that feels, when I really get out of here and really look at it, and I think about what feels static, this is painful. Oh, it's painful in my chest to say this. What feels static is me. This feels like it changes and shifts. This feels like it's free flowing. I'm watching squirrels just flying across this tree, and if I stopped right now, I can probably find 10 squirrels within 3 or 4 minutes. I'm just looking out. I see 5 squirrels. I hear birds. All that they were. What were they doing the other day? They're sleeping. They're burrowing. I don't know where birds even go when it's just freezing as hell. But what I do know is that life just went on and they moved on from whatever cold weather it's been. It's been sub-zero, not sub-30, sub-zero. And they're just back and active. And the other day I would say they were dead, and today I say they're flourishing. So something, like if I walked in here and I would say this forest is dead. It is how could it ever come back from having just been frozen over sub-zero Celsius? And yet today I come out here and it's like it's very alive. And what feels static is my stories. The fact that I'm still out here with the same dumb stories, the same like little huge stories and tiny stories, right? The things I'm sad about today, and then the big global world that is just too much for me to handle. Stories, just stories that are too big for a man, too big for a human, and burdensome. And when I come here, I realize those stories, like, I'm not static. Those stories are static. I change like this. I change like this around me. And I want to let the changing nature of nature change me, so that I'm less of a story to maintain, less of an idea of goodness to uphold, or rightness, or even being like good enough for anything, right? I think it's backwards there, but that says loose, which I know for damn sure means light, because my daughter's name is Lucy. We are not our stories. There's something much more beautiful. Look, they go much more beautiful, and I'm showing these fence posts or whatever. This is actually pretty cool. This walkway is, I don't know what they're trying to, oh, they're protecting all these trees. They just planted like a hedgerow. Hedgerow? Did I just use I used the word hedgerow. If you made it this far, then you were like, wow, this got interesting. When I sign off, there's this voice that pops in me. It's Rob Bell's voice, and it says, may you, may you. He says something like, may you be filled with grace and peace. So I'm not going to steal his tagline, but may you, I like that, may you, goodwill, like, think about like the announcement of goodwill. It's like, let's close this conversation with the announcement of goodwill. May you may you feel the voice of love. May you feel the voice of love.